Welcome to the Courtroom Chronicles. This channel is dedicated to educational content based on real-life cases and true events. This content shared here is drawn directly from the actual case file, and no names, places, or items have been changed. However, the content has been carefully summarized and presented for educational purposes in a comprehension format to inform, enlighten, and spark meaningful discussions. Whether you're here to learn, reflect, or simply understand the real-world scenarios better, you're in the right place. We believe in the power of truthful storytelling to educate and inspire. Disclaimer: while all stories are based on real cases, they are presented in a condensed and structured format for clarity and learning. Viewer discretion is advised where necessary. This case is cited from the Nigerian High Court online file, which is public record. This is a case between De-Chico Investment Ltd v. Fidelity Bank plc and 3 others. This case before the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, centers on a land transaction dispute involving the claimant, De-Chico Investment Ltd, and 4 defendants, Fidelity Bank plc, Chiedu Nwokolo, Chukwendu Nwokolo, and NV&U Ltd. The claimant sued Fidelity Bank for breach of contract, seeking a declaration that Fidelity Bank breached a contract to release the Certificate of Occupancy (C of O) upon payment of $100 million. Orders to release and register the deed of release over the property and hand over the C of O. $30 million in general damages. Factual background: the claimant paid $100 million into the 4th defendant's Fidelity Bank account to purchase half of a plot of land, plot 2710-113, Volta Street, Maitama. The original C of O was with Fidelity Bank, which held it as security for a $150 million loan given to NV&U Ltd, 4th defendant. Despite payment and a comfort letter from the bank, Exhibit A9, the bank refused to release the C of O, preventing the claimant from perfecting title. Fidelity argued there was no privity of contract between it and the claimant and that the property was mortgaged, so the obligation to release the title was contingent upon full loan repayment, including a further $20 million by the 2nd defendant. Judgment summary: the court found that Exhibit A9, Letter of Comfort, did not amount to a binding contract between the claimant and Fidelity Bank because it lacked the elements of offer and acceptance directly between the 2 parties and did not show intent to create legal relations. However, the court held that a proprietary interest had accrued to the claimant and proprietary estoppel applied. The bank's own actions, Exhibits DW9 and the letter dated 25th Sept 2012, estopped it from denying the claimant's equitable rights. Therefore, Fidelity Bank was ordered to release the Certificate of Occupancy to the deeds registrar to allow the claimant to register its title over the subdivided portion. Who won and why? The claimant, De-Chico Investment Ltd, won the case. Although the court did not recognize a formal contract between the claimant and the bank, it granted the key relief, the release of the Certificate of Occupancy, on the basis of proprietary estoppel, recognizing that the claimant had acted to its detriment in reliance on the bank's conduct. The bank, despite not being in direct contract with the claimant, had acknowledged the claimant's interest and contributed to the representation that the property could be acquired. The bank lost because it made representations in Exhibit A9 and later letters that gave the impression the claimant would obtain rights upon payment. It benefited from the claimant's payment, used to reduce the debt of its customer, and could not then renege. It failed to prove that the FCT Land Registry rejected the registration. Legal and practical lessons: how it could have been avoided. Document a clear, binding contract. The claimant and Fidelity Bank should have entered into a formal tripartite agreement explicitly defining obligations and timelines regarding payment and release of the title documents. Relying on a letter of comfort created legal uncertainty. Avoid relying on informal assurances. The letter from Fidelity Bank was not a formal offer. It lacked clear terms of agreement and was addressed ambiguously. Commercial parties must ensure all promises are properly documented with signatures and legal review. Conduct full legal due diligence. De-Chico based its transaction on a land search that omitted the encumbrance, the mortgage. A more thorough due diligence could have revealed the existence of the tripartite mortgage earlier. Use escrow or trustee mechanisms. Instead of paying directly into the seller's account with the mortgagee bank, the funds could have been placed in escrow with clear conditions for title transfer, protecting the buyer in the case of default or refusal. Banks must exercise clarity in third-party transactions. If a bank is willing to release mortgaged property upon third-party payment, it must execute a formal release agreement to avoid disputes. Thanks so much for watching, fam. I really appreciate you spending your time with me. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below, and let me know what you think about the case. I love hearing your thoughts and feedback. And hey, if you felt a connection or learned something new, give this video a like and share it with someone who might enjoy it too. Until next time, stay safe, stay real, and I'll catch you in the next one.